Okay, we've got this thing blocked. Parking brake on. I'm going to jack it up. The jack point is convenient on here. They have this hook on here, and then right behind it is a jack point. Floor jack works beautifully on it. Right there. Okay, got a couple of jack stands underneath there. See where they're at. Now, I like to use wood. So now we'll just ease it down on there. Well, maybe not ease it, but it's down. Okay, here's a 1.8 liter Toyota Corolla that we're going to change out the starter on. I want to point out first where the starter is. Let's get the overview. So if you go down here, the starter's right down here. It's not too inconvenient to get at. And I want to point one other thing out here. Where the upper starter bolt is. This is not such a great thing. You can see my screwdriver in there. I'm trying to point it out. See it moving around. There's a bolt right here. 14 millimeter. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there's the bolt right there. There's our dipstick. Just going to make it rather difficult to get it out, so we're going to be moving that. Job one. Let's disconnect the battery. 10 millimeter. When I do a starter, I always just do them both. Plus and minus. So an item that's often in the way is the air intake. When you're working on a component like this, it's generally easy to take off. So this one's just got a couple of Phillips screws on it. This one also, this is easy to take off. This little hose, little rubber hose. Just take the clamp and get it out of the way here. And then we'll just twist this. And on the other end off the air cleaner. I guess I could have taken that whole air cleaner assembly off, but we'll just set this up here. That's going to easily give us a little bit more room to work. So this bracket that holds the dipstick is making things harder than they need to be here. So what I decided to do is just at least loosen the bracket. It's 12 millimeter. There, maybe that's a better angle anyway down that way. I could put some weight on it. Yeah, there it goes. It's going to take it out all the way. So now with that bracket unbolted, we can kind of wiggle the dipstick and move it out of the way. Make sure you cover up, I had a clean rag, make sure you cover up that dipstick opening so nothing falls in there and gets in the transmission fluid. So here's the toolage we're going to use to get these starter mounting bolts out. I've got a 14 millimeter deep well, 3/8 inch socket. I've got an adapter going from 3/8 to 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch ratchet. Help give us a little mechanical advantage to break those bolts. So what we're going to do first is break the lower bolt, then come up top, break the upper bolt. And as long as it's broken, let's take it out. We'll take that bolt out all the way. Then we'll go back down below, and with the lower bolt still intact, we'll remove the solenoid wire and then the B+ nut. And then finally we will unbolt the lower bolt and pull the starter out through the bottom. Okay, we're underneath now. Coming around right there. Okay, the underneath view. There's a lower bolt, 14 millimeters. Okay, what proved to work here is this 1/2 inch ratchet, 3/8 inch deep well, and then an adapter. 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch to 3/8, so got that busted loose. So now I'm able to get the same equipment down in there that I got in on the lower one. Got the 14 millimeter deep well, the adapter, and the 1/2 inch. Alright, let's see if we can get this now without causing any more mayhem, any injury. There it goes. I've got them both broken, so I'm just going to take this top one right out now. Alright, now you can see there's our upper bolt. Okay, so we're going to take the solenoid wire out first. And this is just basically a squeeze and pull. There it is. And now there's a little cap that's on the B+. I like the rubber ones better. I'm going to have to get the other half of this cap off from the top. Of course, we got the starter still, the lower bolt still bolted in, so we can turn out the B plus nut. So the other there. So now we've got, wow, there's like a third one. Okay, now we've got this B plus bolt exposed. Got the little protective boot off of it. Okay, so now we can get our 12mm ratchet on our B plus nut. Turn it out. Pull the lug off. There, the lug's off. So now I've got it unwired. This time I did it on the starter still mounted. So I'm going to remove that lower bolt and pull it out. Okay, we're just going to remove that the rest of the way. Okay, so we get the bolt loose. Bring it down. And there we have it, out of the vehicle. Okay, so we're going into the reinstall now. Doing this from underneath. Get up into our opening here. And get our bolt. Okay, so here we are. Trying to hold the starter up with one hand, not block the camera. Turn the bolt in with the other. And we're making progress. I think what I'm going to do now is start the upper bolt, get that seated. Okay, so what I'm doing now, one hand I'm holding the starter up, with the other I've got the upper bolt and it's jostle it around a little bit so we can get it started to thread in there. And it's threading now. Do this a lot of the way by one hand. Just by hand, I should say. Okay. As far as I can get it by hand, and there are only just a few turns left on it. Okay, we torqued the bottom up, the final torque. I'm doing the same up here. Don't have a whole lot of room to turn. And you don't have to torque this a ton. It's good and snug. Now for the electrical connections, that's all we have to do with the one solenoid is plug it in. There it is, or to snap. And from the top we'll stick the 12mm nut on there and snap our cover back over it. There's our lug with the cover. And we'll slip that, or slip that over the lug. Remember our little 12mm bolt, or nut. Turn that on. We're torquing this up, snugging it up I should say. Just get it tight right there. And we can snap our cover back on. Alright, that's back in there. Okay, now, as you recall, we had moved this dipstick bracket out of the way. And I put a rag in there to protect it from getting debris in the transmission. So now we'll remove that rag and reseat that. Get our rag out of there. I should mention what I didn't do and probably should have is clean around that opening before you pull the dipstick out. To make sure there isn't any debris that was resting on there. It's actually a pretty small lip on this, so there's not too much danger of that. Okay, so we've got that back in there. And now we can just bolt our bracket back on. Okay, our bracket is going back on. What else did we do? Oh yeah. Get this back on the intake plenum. it is. And we'll tighten that up with Phillips. Remember we took this hose off. This hose off right here. Just a manual operation here. You gotta like that kind of clamp. We got our plenum screws back on. It's time to hook the battery up. Torque those down with 10mm ratchet. All tightened down. Snap our cover back on. And give this thing a test. Okay, thanks for watching this video on the starter removal and installation on a 1.8 liter 2010 Toyota Corolla.